Hi, so this is another video from the I Am Talking series. The idea of the series is that I just talk about um, enlightenment as to how I learned it and thereby try to basically deepen it for myself. And since I have the YouTube channel, I kind of just upload it and maybe it helps someone or it just helps myself, which is already one person. So winning there. So what I wanted to talk about is like the idea that enlightenment is actually, or spirituality is actually just a counter movement or a counter culture to um, mm, basically mainstream society or like atheist society, which means like people are so um, identified with their ego mind or with their person that they kind of negate the awareness part or the I am part or presence or anything that is kind of infinite. And so kind of spirituality has to kind of be the counterculture to that. Basically kind of a conspiracy theory, kind of undermining the idea that we are finite and a person in time and space. But this comes also with downsides, which is like the ego mind kind of tries to claim the territory of spirituality then, and then it's a whole vicious cycle again. But I think enlightenment is actually something that pertains to everybody. Because enlightenment, the way I learned it, is just that remembering or seeing that in order to have an experience, you need to be aware of that experience. Period. So that's not a big thing. That's like as logical as it gets. And then, but this is kind of almost like a conspiracy theory from an identified point of view, because it's like, well, if I'm aware of the person, then 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 I can't be the person, because the person is then perceived by me, and thereby I'm not the person. So that is a pretty scary conspiracy theory in a way, because I thought I was the person. I thought I was the guy that I remember having experiences. But this totally logical idea that in order to have an experience, you need to be aware of that experience is actually makes actually the whole idea of why I'm a person with an history crash down like a house of cards. And so so then there comes this grandiose idea that enlightenment is such a huge thing that only like people who starve themselves to death under a tree or whatever, like the Buddha, or people in India who have like huge gray beards can have. But it's actually not really about the circumstances of their life. It's more like, do I follow this logical step, or am I in denial of that logic? Right? So, so then enlightenment is actually a other word for being sane. Which sounds maybe like an insult for people who identify themselves as not being enlightened, but I'm just trying to talk about the enlightenment as something that is graspable even for me. I don't have a gray beard. I'm not like an Indian guru. I'm not even particularly smart or anything. Just a dude. But I kind of stumbled on these teachings, and I kind of took this definition of enlightenment on, and thereby at least couple of seconds a day I'm kind of enlightened, you know. I mean, there's probably almost infinite depth to this realization, which comes from practice or repetition, basically, or as Bentinho Massaro calls it, the 2 to 5 seconds practice, where he says every 20 to 30 minutes in the waking hours, just zone out for 2 to 5 seconds out of the identification, and that's already enough, even though it only adds up to a couple of minutes a day. Yeah, so this is my practice, and this is what I love. I believe this term, this kind of enlightenment, leads to more mental clarity and more empathy and a more relaxed, confident way of going about life. And therefore I'm very interested in learning more about it, practicing it more, and I just hope and trust that talking about it helps me deepen it. And I think this is enough for today.